The number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. I'm Patrick Cristiano, your host, the publisher of TheaterLife.com, a website for theater buffs in New York City and the Hamptons. And we cover Broadway and off-Broadway theater, as well as theater happenings out here in the Hamptons and the social events in both places. And we are coming to you from the LTV studio in East Hampton, where I have special guests today, Morgan and Tristan Vaughan, who are the founding and artistic directors of the Shakespeare Company?
Roundtable Theater Company.
Oh, duh.
Roundtable Theater Company in East Hampton.
Roundtable Theater Company in East Hampton. And Morgan is also the executive director of LTV.
That is true, yeah.
So we have trump cards here today.
All right, let's do it all over again. Let's just stop it. We could, do the whole, I need some moonlighting lighting, I think, and the whole.
You want to do it over?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, really?
I'm totally kidding.
And I took you.
I know. That's how good an actress I
am. So we want to talk about your Roundtable Theater Company, which also has a website. Mm-hmm. What is the website?
It is roundtabletheatercompany.org, and it's theater RE. We went back and forth about that, but it is...
Théâtre.
Yeah.
So now you told me that you guys were at RADA together.
We were at RADA. We both did the summer intensive at RADA, which is, if you don't know, it's either 4 weeks or 8 weeks of learning Shakespearean acting from the RADA professionals.
Yeah.
Which are the best.
Yes.
It was amazing. It was
Time of my
unbelievable.
life.
Yeah.
But we didn't meet.
I know that's what I want to get to, because I thought it was really fascinating that you're there together and you don't meet together, but then you end up at the same university together.
We ended up at the same graduate school. George Washington University has an Academy for Classical Acting, which is, at the time, was run by Michael Kahn and the Shakespeare Company. Now, I think, the Shakespeare Company still is running it, but Michael Kahn has less to do with it, I think, than he did. But he's still one of the founders of it. And so we ended up there. But while we were in London, I think you saw me in Romeo and Juliet.
Did, yeah.
And didn't really think much of it.
The production.
What did you do in Romeo and Juliet?
I was Friar Lawrence in this post-apocalyptic Romeo and Juliet. There was sort of like Mad Max meets Verona.
What can we do now with this script? And it was triple cast, and I was really tired from the full day.
Yeah.
And,
it was exhausting time.
I did recognize later. I was like, oh, yeah.
But when you met at college later, university, did you know that you had been there together? Did you discover that afterwards?
We figured it out later, I think, just from chatting or whatever.
The first day that we circled up, I think, and we all sort of introduced ourselves, we put together that we'd been there at the same time.
And so when did you decide you wanted to create the round table?
Well, first thing we did was we finished it's an MFA in classical acting, and we went to LA, where all the classical actors are.
Take that off your resume.
Are you hooked up already?
We're hooked up at the very end of school. Mm-hmm. We were nobody really, like it can be iffy.
It's very cloak and dagger.
Yeah, and it can be very difficult if people are paired up in any cast or anything. And so, but we didn't even really like each other until the very end. Just because you see each other every day, you're like, ugh, whatever. And I think that's actually why we're very good judges of each other in terms of our acting and what is good and what isn't, because we were there from the beginning and weren't in love. And so it was just another person in your acting class. So you can be like, oh boy, that was crap.
Yeah, that wasn't.
Wow, that was fantastic.
Have another go.
Yeah. Have another go with that love. Yeah. So then we went to LA. As we joked, all the classical actors are in LA. So we did.
But there was no hooking up until after you got to LA?
No. We moved there together. Yeah, and then we got.
The end of.
Well, we moved there separately.
We were cast. The guy who ran the program, Gary Logan, is a mentor of ours, and he had cast me as Leontio and you as in Women Bore Women.
Oh yeah.
But we didn't know the casting, and then he did this. What was the one with Midsummer Night's Dream?
Oh yeah,
Titania
Oberon,
Titania, and he saw this chemistry, this obviously something going on in that scene, and he just got hysterical with himself. And we didn't know that we were going to be playing lovers in the final production.
You were throwing off sparks?
Apparently we were.
At that point,
you know it, though?
yes. No,
We
we
didn't know
did.
it. Well, because we had also been cast in this one scene that was a fight scene that was
Oh, yeah.
that was Benedict and
Beatrice.
where we were actually doing that love scene with
Joe Staffs.
with
Staffs.
quarterstaffs.
So
It was
we
really
go
awesome.
to LA.
So we go to LA. We were there for a couple years. I did a couple things. I did one show. Tristan did a couple things, and then we decided. Then my dad had passed away, so we had a house here, and we said we're going to go to the Hamptons and we're going to go to the city. That was a silly idea because there's no going to the city every day for auditions from the Hamptons.
Right.
But so we came here, and then we were like, while we're here, since we're here right now, let's start a theater company. And so that's what.
So
Round
that's when
Table.
you started.
Yeah.
So your first production was Macbeth
First production was Macbeth here
here at LTV.
at LTV. Yeah.
And Tristan directed?
Tristan directed, yep. And we do have one picture. It's a picture of me as Lady Macbeth because for those of you who've been to LTV, there's a huge studio.
Yeah.
And Studio 3 has this huge screen. And so what we did was instead of having a set, we used projections. And so we
Oh,
did,
cool.
yeah, it worked really,
They
really
do
well.
it on Broadway all the time.
It was amazing, yeah. And it was, I mean, instead of having the sets, instead of having everything, it was so much better.
Do we have the picture of?
There she
you
is.
are.
There we go. That's me as Lady Macbeth here. And so that's.
So how many performances did
We
you?
did, it
3
was.
weeks.
Yeah, it was 3 weeks, and it was in the winter, and it was here, and by the end, we sold out. I mean, we could do 99 seats because it was an equity show. So by the end, we sold out the
Big
last
time.
weekend.
Sold out.
It was great.
And that was 2013.
That was 2013, yeah.
And then you followed that up by doing Hamlet
By doing Hamlet at Guildhall.
in 2014.
In 2014, it was a cutting that I did. And
Now, who directed that?
I directed that.
Okay.
And Tristan was Hamlet, and he was really, really incredible. We also had our friend who came in to do Macbeth, Jeff Keogh, come back.
He's a
And
brilliant
was
actor.
Claudius at Guildhall. And it was a totally different
Now, how many
experience
weeks
at
was
Guildhall.
that?
We did, I think it was, I want to say that was 3 weeks or maybe 2 weekends at Guildhall. And we also did some kids' performances.
But we have some photos of that too.
Yeah.
Let's show the photos from Hamlet.
We have, this is Tristan.
This is Hamlet.
And Fabrienne Botero, who played Ophelia, who was adorable.
Yeah, she was great.
And then we also had, and then Tristan as Hamlet. And Sebastian Pachinski did the lighting. Yuka Silvera did the costumes. We did it sort of like almost like a 20s-ish version, updated classic dress kind of thing. We
Something
didn't-
that would support a heightened language and status as like a king or prince of Denmark, royalty, but not, going the full garb like we had with Macbeth, which was, kilts,
Yeah.
big stones. The Stone of Destiny is this throne that Malcolm sits on at the end, and it was great.
which we have in our garage right now, the Stone of Destiny, because
Yeah.
Brian Lever made it, and it's this huge set piece that you pick up like this, but it looks really
It's
impressive.
industrial styrofoam, and it's got this great Celtic cross. It's like you have the secret of this stone slab. And you open it up, and it's got this ancient sort of like I don't know,
Yeah.
mystical druid
But it's
aspect to it.
typical set piece. It looks enormously heavy, and then it's nothing.
Yeah,
so
it's
so that's what we did. So that was Hamlet, and then the other thing we've done is that, and before I got involved with LTV, we were teaching some Shakespeare classes. So we taught some acting Shakespeare. Last year we did an acting for the camera here, and we've just done some teaching around.
But you're going to do another class here too, aren't you?
We are going to do, hopefully, we're going to do, we'll always do classes here, because we'll do another one. I would like to do another one this winter, but also we're thinking of another production that we were going to do here, that we might do it.
So we're going to keep
actually
that. We're
filmed.
going to tell them or keep it secret.
I think we can say that we're going to do 12th Night this winter.
Cool. And you'll film it.
We will film it. That's my big goal.
Oh, how fabulous.
Is that it would be something that we could film, and then so we can have it out there for the world, and maybe for education, all that stuff.
So you know what fascinates me about the arts is process. So there's so many people have a disconnect with Shakespeare. You people clearly do not have that disconnect. When did you know Shakespeare was like your calling, that you wanted to you know, like what was your process? When did you know first you wanted to act, and then it was really Shakespeare you wanted to do? How did that come about for both of you?
A friend of mine named Michael Urie had auditioned and gotten into the Juilliard School, which Michael Kahn ran at the time. And so I auditioned, and in talking with him, I realized that if you live in a modern world and you're a modern person, you can do modern plays. But it's not always that those actors can go and be good as Hamlet or as Lady Macbeth. So you really have to be trained in the rhetorical forms and just what it is to be a king. And when Lear defies the universe, it's different than defying your wife. And I realized that getting that training, I could still do modern plays, but I could also do the classics, instead of just limiting myself to just being a modern person doing modern plays and not being able to jump back and do
I think
great
it
verse
pays off
speaking.
too.
So your draw there was because it's going to enhance your capacities as an actor? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
it's just sort of like if you've done ballet your whole life, you're going to jazz dancing and
You've got a
you
really
know the
strong
forms
foundation.
and the foundations where everything came from. So that's the whole idea of classical training.
And were you drawn to classical training for the same reason?
I just wanted training because I had been a professional singer for years, and I had.
So your process was first a singer.
I was definitely first a singer, and that's all that I thought I was good at. But I kept getting cast in shows because I could sing. So here I am. I'm in musical after I'm playing.
Which is a big thing that people often are cast if they're singing abilities and then they can't act.
Right.
So
I mean, I could act, but I felt like a fraud. I felt like, okay, well, I know that I can sing.
it
but
takes the fun out of it.
Right. So then I decided I'm going to go to school. So I went to a graduate school that I won't name for a year, and I left because it was clear that at that point, even in my professional career, I knew more than the people that were teaching me. And then I stumbled upon this program, the Academy for Classical Acting. And the other reason that I wanted to do Shakespeare was because I figured if I could do the hardest thing first,
Yeah.
Everything else would be
everything
easier.
else would be easier. And the truth is that's what I think is the case. If Tristan and I watch a lot of miniseries and all these the television productions, that you start to notice that the leads in all of them are British and Australian.
The British have better training than we do.
They have better training. And because they're talking about the text, they're not talking about the emotion. And that's what it is.
Right.
So we just notice it over and over again. You watch almost any, even American show, and all of the leads. The lead in Walking Dead, the lead in, I can just, there's a gazillion.
Well, Damian Lewis in Homeland, and he was in Band of Brothers, you know,
Right.
the redheaded guy. You start to really look
Yeah.
into the backgrounds of some of these fantastic actors, and it turns out they went to RADA or Lambda, or, they just have a different. The British are very practical and pragmatic about training.
And the other reason that they get to work all the time, we don't have the same kind of system that they have. And the more you work, the better you're going to get. Besides just taking on the most challenging stuff and being able to do a little bit of everything.
So that's why I was attracted to it, is I wanted to do the hardest stuff. If I was going to do it, I wanted to be able to do the hardest stuff. And the other thing is that you shouldn't feel intimidated by Shakespeare, because if it's done right, you know what's happening. You understand it. It's when people, and especially I feel in many American productions that I've seen of Shakespeare, they're so busy trying to feel the feels that that the audience can't hear the words. And really, the actor should be saying the words, and the feels will come
Right.
over that.
Well, because it's to do, and it's what are you doing.
Right.
It's not what you're feeling. The feeling comes out of the to doing, and actually trying to cover the feeling is what the process is about for me anyway.
Yeah.
So I find it fascinating that you guys went to RADA, didn't know each other, and have come full circle to doing what you went to RADA for, and making that your mission in life. Is really very, very cool, I think.
Thank you. I think so too.
I do.
So which I skipped. We also have a little video of your
It's
theater
just
company.
it was just a little promo video that I did.
I meant to show that first before we started talking. So can we just show that to the audience, please? It's a promo video for the Round Table Theater Company. That's the Roundtable Theater Company, and you can go to their website, roundtabletheater.org, and find out everything that they're up to, what they've done, classes they might be having. If you'd like to know more about it, go check it out. It's a good one. So now let's get back to 12th Night.
Okay.
Because that sounds like that's what's really on the works now. That's going to be the next project that you're going to be.
Yeah, we finally do a comedy. It's been, it's had its challenges to get people to come see these tragedies, but people really love to laugh and enjoy Shakespeare's humor and just all of the humanity. We certainly played up whatever was humorous in those tragedies, but I think 12th Night is going to be a real blast at a time out here when people they want to have a good time. They want to go and have a few drinks and see something that's magical.
No, will one of you direct it again?
Yeah.
You're going to direct it, Tristan.
Yes.
And will you play a part?
I will play a part, but my goal. I have a weight loss goal before I am on film in any capacity. But I will, and then we also have some. I would play Olivia, and then we have some other ideas for the other people. I love that play. I think it's gorgeous, and I think there's so much just fun to be had with it, and beautiful, beautiful language in it.
It is a fun play. It is
a great one. So, and I would like to do it so that we could have actually people in it from the audience, not in it, but watching it, engaged in it, the way that we hopefully will film it.
That's terrific.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, when you do the film of it, what will you do with the film afterwards?
I don't know. I mean, that would be something. First of all, we have to clear it with equity. We have to do all this SAG stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think that would be distributed, put it on LTV. It would be educational.
And how many cameras will you use?
I think 4, probably 5. But I have an idea about it being in the round and having cameras on each side and doing a couple different performances and doing edits from each one.
Because have you ever seen any things they do at HD?
I have not seen it yet.
One of the things that's really very special about it, they use so many cameras, and they have close-ups.
Yeah.
And I mean,
that's what's exciting, because even when you see a show, you can't see people's faces.
You can't see these things that you're getting to see.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt. We saw the National Theatre's production of Timon of Athens.
Mm-hmm. I didn't see it, so I don't know.
And it was, Timon of Athens is like, who does that show? But it was really fascinating. It was all about his friends, and they love him for his money, and he realizes it, and then he takes vengeance on them. It was great. And it was the same, exactly what you talked about.
They had close-ups too.
Oh yeah, they had the close-ups. They had it from a distance. It was on the huge screen at Guildhall.
Oh yeah.
Don't you think it enhances everything that's happening when you can do all those kinds of things with the camera?
I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
You just went to see that production of Hamlet at the Shakespeare Company.
I did, yeah. My friend Michael Urie played Hamlet, and it was
multimedia.
It was one of the greatest experiences
where was
of
that?
my life. At the Shakespeare Theater in Washington, D.C.
How long ago?
A month?
Yeah.
I didn't know he did that. Michael Urie did that just recently?
Yeah.
And he did Torch on Trilogy
He's
too?
doing that this fall, right?
Yeah, I think so, yes.
And he did the Inspector General. Did you see him do that?
I didn't get to see it.
It was the best work he has ever done. It was phenomenal. We just saw him at the Drama League Gala on Friday.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was just blown away by what he did in the show.
He's a phenomenal actor.
He's phenomenal. This was really, really, really good.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they did it at second stages. Was it? Do you know about that?
I don't know about it.
Yeah, I think we saw him do something else there once.
Well, let's not go too far on Michael Urie because this is your show.
I happened, whatever we saw, I happened to sit in the spot where they harassed this one audience member.
Oh, that's right, I remember.
And Michael was like, that's my friend Tristan, actually, sitting in that spot.
What?
That's my friend Tristan that's in that spot.
So they were doing it to you?
Yeah.
Oh, so you got to be...
It was fun. It was years ago.
But with the Shakespeare Theater production of Hamlet, it was multimedia. I mean, they were using all sorts of
It was incredible.
cameras
I mean, it was
cell phones and...
Elsinore, Denmark was like this security police state. And so there were these monitors, and there was paparazzi, and they were filming it live, and it was being projected live as they were sort of interviewing Hamlet. And And Michael had this great part where he was like, don't film me. And it was great. It was making use of all of today's technology and all of the training that people have, and being able to externalize and do what, focus on what they're doing, and the emotions come. And it was just a sublime piece of theater.
Well, I didn't know anything about that one.
Oh, really? Well, I'm looking forward to this fall. I think it'll be fun to see Torch Song Trilogy and all of that kind of stuff. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I thought for some reason I thought they'd done it already.
Isn't it this fall?
They did it.
They did it?
They've done it. I don't know if I can talk about it really.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
It's okay. You got me confused.
I know, I'm confused. I'm confused. Oh my gosh, I'm getting a glare.
Well, I mean,
Well, I might have to cut this part out.
yeah, we might have just skipped.
So let's talk just a little bit more about Twelfth Night, because that's what's really is on the table. Are you going to do something to make it, to change it, modernize it too?
I don't even know. I mean,
You haven't
yeah.
it's too early to even get into those kinds
I think
of things.
it's really on the basics of what we're going to be doing. But
Yeah, I haven't sat with. There's so many different ways that you can take it, and there's so many different interpretations of who Feste is a really important part. To get someone who can be a jester, and they can play, and they can sing, and they also have this
She'll have to teach me to sing.
other story going on. So it's, yeah, there's so many things that we could do with it. We don't want to limit it right now with being too myopic about, well, it's going to be set here. It's going to has to be this. It's still feeling it out.
in the production, it also depends so much on what we can do with the space, how much money we have. I mean, that's a big part of a production is,
Yeah, and collaborating.
collaborating, seeing what
Seeing
we
what
can
kind
do
of
for it.
ensemble you have of people and how far they're willing to go with things and make something great.
I just want to do another production where people leave and they say, oh my gosh, I understood Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And even though that seems really trite, I think people feel they don't like to go see Shakespeare because they leave and they feel stupid. And that's not what it should be at all. It shouldn't be for anybody.
It should empower you, actually.
It should empower you, and you should just be swept away by the storytelling. When we did Hamlet, we had the spring school sixth graders came,
Aw.
and they were seriously the best audience, and they
loved
were
it.
rapt. And one of them saw Tristan at the IGA and was like following me around,
Yeah, she was like, that's the man from the play. Mom."
because she was just so impressed. They were just there with it, and that's what it should be. And I'm so happy that we could do that was a first experience, as opposed to going and feeling like you don't understand what's going on, and they're talking in non-English, and
Right.
So that's the goal.
Well,
Universal emotions and understanding it.
I'm sure you'll succeed.
I certainly hope so.
Do you have, how did this come about to be the executive director here at LTV?
It was because of doing Macbeth here.
So you did Macbeth before you actually...
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And then they came to you?
Then they came to me after, when the former executive director decided to leave, they came to me and asked me to be interim director because they knew I could produce.
Mm-hmm.
So I was interim, and then I was hired full-time.
So how did you create Hamlet here initially?
That was actually
Macbeth, excuse me.
before I came here. We did Hamlet. I was working in West Hampton Beach at the time, so it was Macbeth, and then we did Hamlet, and then I came here to work.
But how did you get Macbeth to be here? How did that happen?
Oh, I think I just came and
Just pitched
gave a
Yeah,
a
we
business
saw the
plan
space
and all of that
But
stuff.
did you know about the space ahead of time, or?
I did, yeah.
Oh, so you knew that they had
I knew
this
about the space.
incredible space
And
to do stuff in.
But I mean, part of what I did, and I think that's why they came to me as a producer, is that I came with a plan, how we were going to do it, what it was going to look like, and all of that stuff that producers, like people who rent spaces, want to know. They're just like, a lot of people come and they're like, I have the best idea, and you're like, okay.
Have you seen the space?
Yeah. Do you have any plan about what you want to do at all? And like, it's just going to work really great. And you're like, so that's what I did. Those we do. So
good for you.
I do produce. You know?
And it made another job for you.
I know,
At the same
exactly.
time. Isn't that fabulous? I mean, and you've done wonderful things with LTV
Well, thank you.
since you've come
Thank you.
along. And
It's been a it's
no,
been 3 years.
it's wonderful. You're delightful energy to have here. I'm sure. Just
I hope so. I hope so.
And Tristan, what about you? Do you do other things too besides?
I have. I managed the Devon Yacht Club dining room for 3 years, 4 years. We had this big centennial party, and since then I'm trying to focus on getting donors, and if we have better money, we can hire better actors, and we can take more time with the scripts, and we can go further and actually be more creative with Roundtable. Roundtable, the idea was that there's not a head of the table.
Right.
That everybody is participating and nobody's got a high
Collaborative.
priesthood of dictating how things are going to be done. That everybody's collaborating and sort of skirting the edges of community theater. People that are really good and in a certain role they would be great, but they're not necessarily professional actors.
They need to be given support. So
Right.
we're running out of time, believe it or not. It goes so fast.
I
I wish you lots of luck with
Thank you very much,
new
Patrick.
production that's coming up, and thank you for everything you're doing at LTV.
Thank you.
Thank you.